into a flooded debt trap, arrested by SIT probe team. Reports to be submitted to the CM in 4 days. Vijay's final film, Jananayagan, to remain in cold storage for now. Madras High Court reserves the order on release of the film. Its censor certificate. Court asks filmmakers why announce release without a certificate. Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi walks out of the assembly, claims national anthem disrespected and his mic was switched off. Chief Minister Stalin claims 100-year-old tradition insulted. Former Union Minister, senior Kerala BJP leader, questions Kerala SIT probe in the Sabarimala gold theft case. Says 4 months into the investigation, the SIT has been unable to file a charge sheet. Nitin Nabin takes charge as BJP chief, becomes the youngest national president of the party. Prime Minister Modi calls himself a Karyakarta and Nitin Nabin his boss. Calcutta High Court orders deployment of central forces to bring situation under control following violent clashes in Beldanga. Court expresses concern over similar incidents. Viral video of JDU MLA Anand Singh smoking in a hospital sparks outrage. RJD calls Bihar government's good governance claim a sham. BJP and JDU silent. Bangladesh Cricket Board remains adamant on not travelling to India for the T20 World Cup despite ICC ultimatum. Wants its matches shifted to Sri Lanka. All eyes on the apex cricketing body. Will it replace Bangladesh with Scotland? Our top focus at this hour is the high drama that unfolded in the Tamil Nadu Assembly this morning. Governor R.N. Ravi staged a walkout when his request to play the national anthem was denied. The governor cited disrespect to the national anthem. Raj Bhavan then released a statement justifying the governor's walkout, alleging that his microphone was repeatedly turned off and that he was prevented from speaking and making his customary address. The statement further claimed that pressing concerns like rising atrocities against Dalits, sexual violence against Dalit women were completely ignored. Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, meanwhile, has come out and slammed the move. He called it an affront to the century-old assembly and traditions there. The opposition, meanwhile, the AIADMK especially, staged a walkout from the assembly, protesting against the deteriorating law and order situation in the state.
So today, Governor staged a walkout. This is the second time it's happening, and the last 4 times there's been some development or the other when it comes to Governor. How do you see this? And Chief Minister has already given an...
The Governor is working against the Constitution. The Governor is against the constitutional norms, or constitutional way of things. And we very well know, post our Republic, the Governor has to read the document which is prepared by the state government, various achievements done by the state government. The Governor is quite hesitant to read out his achievements from his own mouth because of his individualistic perception and his influence virtue, or his political notion is completely preventing him to do his constitutional duties.
The DMK government gave a speech of Tamil Nadu governor which is filled with all false and fake and fudged data. The governor categorically refused to state the same and speak the same. He sought the correct data and he wanted that to be set right because it is on the assembly, it is going on records. And DMK government refused to do so, and MK Stalin, instead of sticking on to the governor's speech, wants to have his own narrative filled into the governor's speech. So protesting the same, the Honorable Governor has left the assembly, and now DMK and their ecosystem are trying to paint a false picture on the course of events. It is shame on DMK to give fake and fudged and false data in the governor's address.
Purnima, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Purnima, now this is not the first time that something like this has happened. Governor R.N. Ravi has on other occasions in the past as well walked out like he did today, and on the same issue, that this playing of national anthem, whether it's played before or at the end of the day, that's been a bone of contention between the two sides for long now, isn't it?
Well, absolutely, Poonam. This is the second consecutive time that the governor had staged a walkout. This over his request being denied. His request was that the national anthem be played after the Tamil Thai Vartha. But if you look at the last 4 years, every time when it comes to the beginning of the assembly session, it will be the governor's speech. 4 years ago, governor had omitted certain words, including Dravida, Anna, Periyar, the Dravidian icons' names. He had omitted these names, and this did not go down well with the Tamil Nadu government. However, they said that their own speech will be published, and the governor's speech omitting that will not be considered. And the next year, what followed was, even before the speech began, the governor had objections to certain statements that were given by the state government to the governor. It's the state government that gives the speech to the governor. So he had objections to the statements made, and therefore he said he will not read that. And last 2 years, over the national anthem being played at the end of the assembly proceeding and not in the beginning. War of words between the governor and government seems to escalate, and this happens every year when the governor is all set to deliver his speech. The state government, meanwhile, has hit out and said that the act of governor, quote unquote, is an insult to the assembly. We'll have to now wait and see how the entire issue now pans out in the run-up to the 2026 elections as well, between the governor and the DMK government.
Now, there were portions of the speech as well. That's something that was taken objection to. The governor and the Raj Bhavan, which came out with a statement, said that, pressing issues like Dalit atrocities especially did not find a mention in that speech. Is there any response from the DMK government on that particular front?
Well, yes, indeed. The DMK government's response is that it's the governor that's making a political statement. Governor should not behave like a political party or not speak like a politician, is the response that's coming from the DMK. When the Lok Bhavan had issued a statement clearly stating what the governor's stance is as far as today's events unfolded, the DMK government says the governor is acting like a politician and not as a governor. That's the response.
Right, Purnima, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. The face-off between the government and the governor in Tamil Nadu continues. We'll keep a track of that, but shifting focus to the neighbouring state of Kerala, where the High Court has made strong observations in the Sabarimala gold misappropriation case. The Kerala High Court noted that the diversion of gold from the idols in the door frames was carried out in a systematic and methodical manner. Citing chemical analysis reports, the court highlighted organised pilferage, institutional lapses and possible complicity, even calling for a deeper investigation. Meanwhile, the Enforcement Directorate is conducting multi-state raids in this case, including at the Travancore Devasam Board office. Residence of the main accused was also raided earlier this morning. As far as the investigation goes, there is a special investigating team that is looking into the Sabarimala gold theft. They will be visiting the temple to measure the door frames and the plates, collect samples and then assess the quantity of gold. The court had expressed satisfaction with the progress of the probe and had asked for a detailed report by February 9th. But politics continues on the sidelines, with several in the state of Kerala asking what progress the SIT has made so far.
We are outside the residence of N. Vasu, the former Travancore Devasam Board president, who has been arrested by the SIT in connection with the gold theft case. So the Enforcement Directorate has been conducting the checks from early morning today at multiple places, 21 places across Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. In Thiruvananthapuram, at least in 4 to 5 places, these raids are being conducted, including the headquarters of Travancore Devasam Board and the residence of N. Vasu, Unikrishnan Poti, another accused in the case, and Baiju. Now, what the Enforcement Directorate is looking at is a paper trail, is looking at the proceeds of the crime, where this money actually went after this crime has been committed related to the gold theft. And not just the gold theft, they are also looking at other angles related to the pilferage in Sabarimala temple. Now, the SIT has been conducting their investigation. The SIT headed by ADGP H. Venkatesh, and this is a team that has been formed by the High Court themselves, and High Court is closely monitoring this. Even yesterday, the SIT had submitted their investigation progress report and the chemical analysis report before the High Court, and these were closed proceedings. The High Court in its order has said that it looks like prima facie the doubts are coming correct.
We had an allegation. We expressed an allegation that the Dwarapalaga sculpture and the door of the only Sabarimala temple were sold to a millionaire. Now, after the chemical examination and scientific examination of the VSSC, they submitted a report before the Honorable Court. Now, the Honorable High Court underlined the allegations made by the opposition. The government and the CPM are protecting the accused persons in the Sabarimala gold pilferage case.
The ED is conducting raids across 21 locations in Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. How are you seeing this?
No, I have not. I don't have any personal information about the ED raids, but of course the court had given the permission, as per the request made by the ED, that there is an aspect of money laundering involved in this gold robbery issue of Sabarimala. So I am sure that the ED would be conducting these raids to get more information and clues about the incident. Let us wait to get the report of the ED about the outcome of the raids.
The SIT investigation is ongoing. Yesterday also there has been an order from the High Court making certain remarks. Today you all have taken out a protest march towards the residence of former Davos Minister.
Now, because the SIT's inquiry, even though it is now almost 3 months are over, almost it is about 4 months, and the first arrest was made almost 3 months ago. We have an apprehension that the charge sheet has not been filed, and ultimately it will pave the way for those who are in jail to become free and walk away. So ultimately this issue and this whole crime will end up as another story.
Neetu, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details. Neetu, we'll talk about the politics that's playing on the sidelines, but as far as the investigation goes, there were raids that were being conducted by the ED this morning. Are those raids still underway? And secondly, the SIT team was going to be visiting the Sabarimala temple. Has that happened yet?
Yes, the ED raids are undergoing and the SIT team has also gone to Sabarimala. But this entire investigation by the SIT, the High Court has been clear that it should be away from the media glare and information shouldn't be given to them. So the media was not allowed there, and the temple has also closed after the Mandala Magravilakku pilgrimage season. Now the ED raids are still ongoing in many places. If you look at this entire case, obviously there is politics that is being played over this, and definitely ahead of the state assembly elections, another 2 to 3 months before the assembly elections in the state of Kerala, and this will be one of the major issues that the opposition Congress as well as the BJP is raising. For the Congress-led UDF, whenever Sabarimala has come in, they have benefited electorally, whether it's in 2019 Lok Sabha elections or even the local body elections. So they are hoping that the issue being live and all this that has happened right now will help them politically and electorally. Now, after today's raid, what we are hearing from the CPIM is a stand that ED raids at this time, they are seeing it as suspicious because they are saying that an SIT investigation is ongoing, which is closely monitored by the Kerala High Court. And the court has also expressed satisfaction at the way in which the investigation is going. In its yesterday's order also, Kerala High Court has mentioned that. So at a time like that, the ED conducting raids is suspicious, is what the LDF is saying. So definitely using central agencies ahead of elections is something which the CPIM and LDF will be raising.
But politics aside, the High Court as well has raised some red flags, isn't it, as far as the investigation goes, as far as how this entire issue was treated in the first place, that the fact that so much of gold went missing, that there was no audit in the first place, all of that eventually points to the door of the left, and the government cannot shun their responsibility over that. That's something that the High Court has also pointed out.
the High Court has pointed it out that the Travancore Devasam boards are responsible for this. The High Court even went ahead and said that asked the SIT to look into the conspiracy angle, the criminal conspiracy angle, and if people from who are sitting in the top positions of the board are involved in this. So in all its previous orders, the Kerala High Court has also maintained that. Now, if you look at it, initially it began as a missing of 4.5 kg of gold from the Dwarapalaga idols. But as the SIT started their investigation, they figured out that the rot runs deeper, and it is not just that. The Dwarapalaga idols, the wooden, the frames, the main door frames in front of the sanctum sanctorum, all this has been brought under question. And not just this, while this pilferage and the gold theft was being inquired into in December and November to January 2nd, in a month of 2 months, from the sale of ghee, there was misappropriation of funds to the tune of 35 lakhs, and High Court has asked to Vigilance and Anti-Corruption Bureau to look into this, to form a special investigation team to inquire into this. So this has also come out. Now, if we pose this question to the left front and the CPIM, the answer, or what they say in their defense, is that all this was found out by the vigilance team of the Devasam board itself, and it was based on the special commissioner's report to the High Court that this SIT was formed, and SIT has full freedom, and that is why the investigation is going on. The Chief Minister and the ministers have been maintaining that the SIT has full freedom. All the culprits will be brought before the law. 2 decades old, everything will be inquired into, and the gold will be brought back. So this is what the government has been saying. See, till the arrest of the Tantri, the chief priest of Sabarimala, Kandarara Rajivara, during that time, the CPIM was really in the defensive. We saw in the results of the local body elections also that this had impacted. But after the arrest, it has actually given some leeway for the CPIM and the LDF politically, because the arrest of the Tantri has shocked the devotees, and Tantri is someone who is seen as a father figure to the Lord Ayyappa according to the traditions. So something like this happening has shocked the devotees, and this has actually politically given some leeway for the LDF and the CPIM, but definitely the Congress and the BJP will be using this Sabarimala issue during these elections.
Absolutely. Neetu, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that front. But even as the investigation is focused on Sabarimala, it's not just that one temple that we're talking about. There are allegations of mismanagement, misuse of temple assets that are surfacing from across different states, and that raises larger questions over accountability. In Tamil Nadu, concerns were growing over alleged land encroachments of temples. Land that belonged to the temple was usurped, in some cases by the Waqf board. There were claims that were made that valuable properties belonging to the temples have either been lost or misused over the years. In Andhra Pradesh, the scarf flower at the Tirumala Tirupati temple had triggered a fresh controversy. Vigilance officials uncovered a massive silk dupatta scam that was estimated at over 54 crores. Adding to the debate over sanctity, administration and conduct within one of the country's most revered shrines. So why exactly does this happen? Because there is a crores now going that governments need to let go of control of these temples. Let's first take you through the details of who oversees key temples across the country, beginning especially with South India, from where we have seen several of these allegations of irregularities come to the fore. Beginning with Tamil Nadu, it is the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments Department of the state government that oversees all of these temples. In fact, they oversee over 46,000 Hindu and Jain temples put together. The same goes with Andhra Pradesh. The endowment department of the state government manages these temples, under whom there are 27,000 temples in their jurisdiction. So the Andhra Pradesh government and this particular department of the government, the ministry of that government, is supposed to look after 27,000 temples, which is why clearly there is something that falls through the gaps. In Kerala, again, these temples are managed by 5 state-run autonomous Devasam boards, like in the case of Sabarimala, which is the Travancore Devasam board, but all of them eventually are believed to be appointees of the political dispensation of the day. Under this particular board, under these 5 boards across Kerala, there are about 3,000 temples. All of them are under the Devasam control. So the Sabarimala theft case has once again raised questions of whether temples should remain under government control or should they be managed independently by the devotees, by the people who actually would want answers if there are irregularities that come up, like in this case. There is a movement that's really going on to free temples from government control, and there is a long history for that. In fact, the RSS had passed its first resolution in 1959 calling for Hindu temples to be freed from government control, highlighting the need for community-led management of religious institutions. That same year, then we had the Akhil Bharatiya Pratinidhi Sabha that urged the Uttar Pradesh government to hand over management of the Kashi Vishwanath temple to Hindus and take it away from the government. Then more recently, in 2023, the Madhya Pradesh government took steps to ease state oversight of these temples across the state. That signaled a broader reassessment of government control over religious institutions. Then in 2025, at the Mahakumbh Mela, the Vishwa Hindu Parishad resolved to free all temples from government control. There were over 950 delegates from India and abroad to endorse a detailed action plan to achieve that goal. So even as we see the chorus growing, even as that particular call to free temples growing, are we anywhere closer to governments actually giving up control? That's really the question that still remains. Well, shifting focus to some more breaking news that's coming in. As Karnataka returns to paper ballots, at least for the Bengaluru civic polls, the BJP has now come out and slammed the Congress's disgraceful move. Karnataka leader of opposition, R. Ashok, says this is an absolute disgrace. Even after their own government survey confirmed that people trust EVMs, the Karnataka government has chosen to push elections back to paper ballots. This is not reform or fairness, alleges the BJP. Remember, there is a deadline for BBMP elections to be held. The Supreme Court had mandated that these elections be held before June, the process for which has already begun. As part of that process, the state government, the state CEC, in fact, had come out yesterday and said that they would be going back to paper ballots and not use EVMs in this particular election. Shivani, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. Shivani, we saw something similar happen in the civic body polls in Mumbai. So the same thing is going to happen now in Bengaluru, but the BJP is crying foul.
Yes, the BJP, along with several other experts, have pointed out, especially to this irony, Poonam, that actually Bangalore as a city, Bengaluru as a city is tied very closely to the very history of the EVMs that all of India adopted and now is mandatory when it comes to national and state level assembly elections. It is Bharat Electronics Limited, BEL, based in Bangalore, that had first actually started to make EVMs. So the very name of the city is associated with this electoral reform. Mind you, this started way back in 1980s. This started very much under Rajiv Gandhi-led Congress government, and successive Congress governments have defended the use of the EVMs or pushed the use of the EVMs. Now we've got a situation where the tremors of the Maharashtra civic elections are being felt in Bengaluru and statewide in Karnataka, where after the recommendation of the state government, the Congress state government in the state election commission has decided that for the upcoming local elections, including the marquee BBMP elections, they will go to ballot paper. So not only the opposition but several others, even noted Bengalurians, have raised the question if a city, which is the IT city of India, should be rolling back and, basically appearing circumspect when it comes to technology, and also technology developed indigenous in India. It's important to note here that Indian EVMs are unlike any other electronic voting machine used anywhere in the world, and while doubts have existed otherwise and even in India since the 1980s, by and large there has been a political consensus to use the EVMs because they stopped short the kind of ballot rigging, the kind of booth capturing that used to go on at the ground level.
Shivani, do stay on with us. Ashok Gowda of the BJP is also with us on the broadcast. Thank you so much for speaking with us. You're on CNN News 18. We've seen what the leader of opposition, your party colleague, has said, calling it a disgrace. But the recommendation was made by the Congress party, by the government in Karnataka, but the decision was of the State Election Commission.
Absolutely right. But at the end of the day, the Congress is not in the true and fair elections in the technological, via technology. Because what they did it in the past is, whether it is in 70s and 80s, the chemical rigging and booth rigging was a common phenomena. They think that they can repeat that now also. Part one. Part two. This EVMs, because Bangalore is a silicon city of India, and it is competing with the California and other countries, and we are probably surpassing the knowledge bank and the and we can even see more systemized and more transparency can be brought into the EVMs, and more thoughts can be brought into the EVMs if DK Shivakumar, Rahul Gandhi, Siddaramaiah calls for the people and says that how can we improve the EVM and more transparency can be achieved, and if there is any
But Mr. Gowda, I come back to the same question that I asked you, that the Congress may have made the recommendation, but the State Election Commission could have denied it. Several such recommendations are made to the Election Commission ever so often from political parties.
What happens is sometimes the last election, 6 municipal corporations went to elections in the December, and there were partially they had EVMs and partially they had ballot paper. Yet BJP won. See, that is why because of the pressure and because of this Rahul Gandhi speaking all kind of substances which wherein probably it does not have anything called ground reality, and he speaks with the substance and without the substance. So that is where people think that okay, let us give a chance. See, when the EVM elections happened, Congress won with almost 42.8% of vote share with 136 seats. They do not believe EVMs then. Whenever BJP wins, there is an EVM problem. And whenever BJP wins, there is a vote story. When Congress wins, there is no vote story. Everything, all elections is free and fair. So this is the mindset of the Rahul Gandhi, which is trying to impose on Siddaramaiah. And because Siddaramaiah wants to continue, he is doing this. Or DK Shivakumar wants to come to power, he is supporting this. So this is the problem.
Sure. Mr. Gowda, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The BJP sees this as a Congress plot to take us back to ballot paper ages, despite there being reform, despite there being evidence to back that EVMs are not hackable, that they cannot be tampered with. Despite that, the BJP alleges that the Congress wants to go back to ballot paper. But again, the fact of the matter is that this is a decision that the State Election Commission has taken and not the Congress government of Karnataka. Afreen, my colleague, now joins us. Also getting us more perspective on this. Afreen, we've seen what the BJP has been saying there. The Congress, of course, happy because it was their recommendation that they had made to go back to ballot papers. But why is it that the BJP thinks that this is not going to be a free and fair election? Are they casting doubts on the Election Commission then?
Poonam, one thing is that the BJP thinks this is insulting the intelligence of voters, like Leader of Opposition has posted on X. The credibility of
Sorry to interrupt you, Afreen. Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge is with us. Thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The Leader of Opposition in Karnataka, Mr. R. Ashok, has come out and said that this is quite a disgrace, that the recommendation that was made by the Congress government has been accepted by the State Election Commission.
The State Election Commission is an independent body and it can choose to conduct urban local bodies and panchayat elections as it deems fit. So whether it is their own thought process or whether it is a recommendation from public or the government, there is in their wisdom they have chosen to do so. So what is the problem? I don't understand. Which constitutional law have we broken, or which part of the law has been broken for this?
The allegation, Mr. Kharge, is that the Congress is trying to drag India and the electoral process in the country back ages because we used to use ballot papers. Yes, there is no provision to say that we cannot go back to them anymore. But the fact is that we did go through years and decades of reform, eventually reached to EVMs, and there has been evidence to show that EVMs are hack-proof.
So I don't think, so according to the opposition, America, Germany, France, other countries who are technologically more advanced than us, but who use ballot papers, are a backward country. And more importantly, just look at one election recently that was a Gram Panchayat election. Decision was reversed in Haryana or UP, if I am not mistaken. They went to the Supreme Court and they ordered a recount of the EVM, and the Gram Panchayat person who had won the election, in the recount, he lost. It was through the EVM. And if the EVM is so secure, why are they not having an ethical hackathon as suggested by us? We have written twice or thrice to the Election Commission of India to have an ethical hackathon in Bangalore. The state government is more than happy to facilitate these things under the supervision of a High Court or a Supreme Court judge. Why can't they do it? And why isn't the Election Commission of India responding to any of the queries that government is officially asking them? What should we do?
But Mr. Kharge, your government just put out a recent
case,
survey that had a stamp of approval of the state government, which said that people do have trust in EVMs. Despite that, the Congress government, your government, went to the state EC to ask for ballot papers.
See, I'm not sure if you know about it entirely. The Election Commission periodically asks the state election commission to do a survey, and this survey was given to an NGO whose advisor is in the Prime Minister's office. A completely RSS-backed NGO was given the survey by the Election Commission. The sample survey size was only 5,000, and they're claiming that people have extreme faith in that. Okay, whatever it is, tell me which law am I flouting? So conveniently, the BJP wants to use ECIs as per their norms, whims and fancies. In Aland, in Karnataka, there is a 22,000 page charge sheet that has been filed against the BJP candidate for misusing Form 7 in a vote chori case.
Yes.
Why aren't they talking about that? Why are they so silent about that?
Sure. Well,
so they're
we'll
manipulating voter. They're manipulating voter lists. They've been caught red-handed. They've been caught with the hand in the cookie jar, and now they're trying to divert attention.
Well, we'll see where this goes. But Priyank Kharge, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. The interesting aspect of this entire controversy is that this time around, it is the Congress that seems to be siding with the Election Commission, and the BJP raising hackles over the decision that a state election commission has taken. We'll keep a track of that and much more here on CNN News 18. But for now, it's time for a quick break.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Shifting focus to Karnataka, now facing mounting public outrage and political criticism, the Congress has in fact reworked its strategy as far as Davos visit by the Deputy Chief Minister is concerned. It's a U-turn by DK Shivakumar, who's left to Davos early this morning after criticism, not just from public but also opposition parties. Remember, Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivakumar, who had earlier skipped the World Economic Forum citing official engagements, has now left for Davos. Sources say the decision came after strong reactions over the missed opportunity to attract global investment to the state. Shivakumar has received clearance from the party leadership in Delhi and is on his way to Davos in what is being projected as a state-first move. The BJP has in fact accused DK Shivakumar of prioritizing party politics over Karnataka's economic interest, triggering a wider debate that ultimately led to this major U-turn by the DCM.
Of course, there is Delhi is also given me permission, and my leaders also have been, the CM also has been asked me to go there, and I've been receiving call that I should be a part of the discussion in Davos. I'm making up my mind, and my opposition leaders also, my friend also is advising me. Sometimes we'll have to take the advice of our opposition leaders also, in the interest of the state. We'll all work together. When the state comes, we'll all work together.
DK Shivakumar sir, he had initially cancelled the trip to Davos, and there was a lot of criticism on from the opposition saying that he's going to Delhi and he's going for personal agenda to for leadership change, and he's neglecting the interests of the state. So now he's going to Davos. Your reaction to that?
Already our delegation, our state government delegation headed by Mr. M.B. Patil, our industries minister, is reached Davos. Last year also he was there in Davos, and we got huge investments proposal from Davos, right? So they are also already there, they are doing their own job, and Mr. DK Shivakumar now has flown today, I think in the morning, and he's joining the team. So there is no need for the BJP to get worried, because when they were in power, they never took all these things very seriously. Right. They never brought any significant investment from the international forums. So it is our government which has worked silently, committedly and to make Karnataka progressive industrial hub in the country. So they did not, BJP need not worry, we are doing our job efficiently.
In fact, CNN News 18's Afreen Hussain now joins us for more on this. Afreen, this constant flip-flop over the Deputy Chief Minister's visit to the World Economic Forum has clearly left the Congress embarrassed.
Well, absolutely, Harish. Initially, DK Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, cancelled his visit to Davos, and BJP took this up and they criticized him for cancelling the trip. And his officer also stated that he's going to Delhi to discuss about the Assam polls that's coming up and to discuss how to tackle the opposition on Manrega and Act. And also, he was there to discuss leadership change. It's a speculation. Now, holding all these reasons, the BJP had criticized that DK Shivkumar had cancelled the Davos trip, which is in the interest of the state of people, which could bring in huge investment to Karnataka. And instead of looking at all of this, he's looking at his personal agenda, trying to get the Chief Minister's chair, trying to get a meeting with Rahul Gandhi. Now, these were all the reasons and the criticism that had come in from BJP. And finally, DK Shivkumar took a U-turn and he decided to go to Davos. He's flown in early this morning. And he's also said yesterday to the media that he takes sarcastically, he said that he takes the advice of the opposition, his friend, and he is going to Davos to bring in investments for the state of Karnataka. He's also told the BJP that, you do not need to worry about this. Our state is progressing well and we'll make sure that it does.
Absolutely. Stay with us, Afreen, because the next story is also...
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Shifting focus to Karnataka, now facing mounting public outrage and political criticism, the Congress has in fact reworked its strategy as far as Davos visit by the Deputy Chief Minister is concerned. It's a U-turn by DK Shivkumar, who's left to Davos early this morning after criticism, not just from public but also opposition parties. Remember, Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivkumar, who had earlier skipped the World Economic Forum citing official engagements, has now left for Davos. Sources say the decision came after strong reactions over the missed opportunity to attract global investment to the state. Shivkumar has received clearance from the party leadership in Delhi and is on his way to Davos in what is being projected as a state-first move. The BJP has in fact accused DK Shivkumar of prioritizing party politics over Karnataka's economic interest, triggering a wider debate that ultimately led to this major U-turn by the DCM.
Of course, there is Delhi is also given me permission, and my leaders also have been, CM also has been asked me to go there, and I've been receiving call that I should be a part of the discussion in Davos. I'm making up my mind, and my opposition leaders also, my friend also is advising me.
From Delhi to Davos, India steps onto the world stage, selling a phenomenal growth story.
All states that have delegations from India are going to be on one floor. So it's going to be competitive federalism at its best.
Stung by uncertainty, global capital hunts for certainty.
President Trump is coming to Davos in person this year, and he's bringing with him what is set to be the largest US delegation to Davos ever.
You may have wondered, what is all the fuss about? The World Economic Forum, Davos.
Delhi to Davos, CNN News 18. World's business is our business.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nation at 5. US President Donald Trump has stirred fresh controversy with European allies after sharing an image in Truth Social showing Canada and Greenland covered in US flag hues. That has revived tensions over his push to acquire the Arctic island. Donald Trump posted a map of the United States showing Canada, Venezuela and Greenland as part of US territory. It appears to be AI generated but was shared on his Truth Social platform amid the rhetoric that he has been making his desire very public about seizing Greenland. Whether he does it by force or not, that's something that experts are divided on. This post comes amid a war of words with European allies over Trump's renewed push to take over Greenland. Trump has repeatedly said that the US needs this vast mineral-rich island for its national security, despite the US already maintaining a military base there. But what is it that Greenland wants? What is it that the European allies want? Because there are threats and counter-threats coming in from both sides. Take a look at this ground report.
Greenland's Prime Minister and his people are walking a tightrope at anti-US protests over the weekend in the capital Nuuk, the biggest yet, trying not to inflame already overheated international tensions. The Prime Minister not mentioning President Donald Trump by name, saying we're all standing here together today to show that we're united and we're not accepting what's happening to us. Many here feeling like bystanders to their own destiny.
Right now, I think as a generation, we're kind of scared for the future because it feels like we don't have enough power to make our own decisions fully.
It's scary to think about it, and it's scary at night to try to sleep, and it's the talk of the day every day. A couple of days ago, we talked about buying a rifle.
Yeah.
for
defense?
protection. Yeah.
Wow, that's serious.
Yeah, it is serious.
Gun store owners we've spoken with say they're not seeing a spike in sales, but purchases of camping stoves, gasoline, freeze-dried food is going up, driven, they say, by the crazy language President Trump is using and concerns that events here really are out of their control. Now, Denmark's move to have NATO allies trained for Arctic security has further angered President Trump, who is threatening tariffs on the contributing countries. Compared to other NATO partners, how tough are the conditions up here?
It is very, very tough. And that's also why we have to train up here.
The Danish commander in charge tiptoes around the politics of it all. As a NATO commander, are you personally surprised that a NATO partner could be threatening another NATO partner?
I will not go into politics, but I work perfectly together with the US military. We have done that for decades in Bosnia, in Afghanistan.
Well, shifting focus to some breaking news that's coming in, the European Union Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is going to be in India next week for the Republic Day celebrations here. And ahead of that visit, she has gone on to say that the EU will strike mother of all deals with India next week. Also adding that Europe will always choose the world and the world is ready to choose Europe. Zaka Jacob, my colleague, now joins us, getting us more details on this. But before that, let's listen in to what Ursula von der Leyen had to say.
Of 2 billion people, accounting for almost a quarter of global GDP. And crucially, that would provide a first-mover advantage for Europe with one of the world's fastest-growing and most dynamic continents. Europe wants to do business with the growth centers of today and the economic powerhouses of this century, from Latin America to the Indo-Pacific and far beyond. Europe will always choose the world, and the world is ready to choose Europe.
Zaka now joins us, getting us more perspective on this. Zaka, as far as the mother of all deals is concerned, any insight into what's that going to look like?
So it's the India-EU FTA. They've been negotiating this for over 10 years now. It started in 2013, and then in 2022, they got suspended because clearly there were issues in the negotiations between India and the European Union. The sticking point still seems to be around the carbon-adjusted border mechanism, whereby if you are exporting to any country within the European Union, the 27-member bloc, you have to pay a sort of a tariff, if you will. Some are calling it a non-tariff barrier, whereby it sort of mitigates some of the carbon footprint, whether it is auto companies, whether it's other companies. But I think the larger context in which Ursula's made these comments are absolutely important because it's happening in Davos. She's speaking, just a day before Donald Trump speaks there. She's also signaling to Trump at a time when, relations between Brussels and Washington is deeply frayed because of the Greenland controversy. She's signaling to Trump that, look, we have other business partners equally big, in fact, bigger than the United States in terms of a market that we're willing to do business with, and they are willing to do business with us as well. For India too, this is important, the India-EU FTA, simply because the India-US bilateral trade agreement has still not been arrived at. India still continues to pay 50% tariffs, which is one of the highest for any country in the world. So India will also be very, very keen to wrap up and conclude the FTA next week. Both Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa will be the chief guests for the Republic Day, and India will want to sign that concluding agreement which seals the India-EU FTA. If for nothing else, of course, it will create a huge market. As she mentioned a moment ago, it's the mother of all deals, 2 billion plus people. It can easily be the world's biggest trade deal in terms of the size of the two markets. But at the same time, I think the importance of the India-EU FTA is doubly more so now because it sends a signal to Trump and to Washington that, look, India has options and partners that it can choose from. The European market is comparable in terms of size and purchasing power to the United States market. So I think this will put more pressure on Trump and his negotiating team to try and iron out the differences between India and the US and to try and finally conclude that bilateral trade agreement, which has been elusive for a long time. So I think you're seeing a lot of sort of geopolitical machinations, a lot of sound bites and speeches being made. This is geopolitical signaling and strategy making, if you will, by all players. Like I said, it comes at a time of great strain. Donald Trump has completely upended the global trading order as we know it. Other countries are trying to signal to him, if he can play the game, then so can they.
Well, Zaka, to stay on with us, let's listen in once again to the European Commission President and what she had to say about this mother of all deals that India and the European Union are expected to sign next week.
And right after Davos, the next weekend, I will travel to India. There's still work to do, but we are on the cusp of a historic trade agreement. Indeed, some call it the mother of all deals. One that would create a market of 2 billion people, accounting for almost a quarter of global GDP. And crucially, that would provide a first mover advantage for Europe with one of the world's fastest growing and most dynamic continents. Europe wants to do business with the growth centers of today and the economic powerhouses of this century, from Latin America to the Indo-Pacific and far beyond. Europe will always choose the world, and the world is ready to choose Europe.
Economist P.K. Basu is now joining us to put this in perspective for us. Thank you so much for speaking with us on CNN News 18. How do you look at this comment that has come in, sir, from the EU President? Mr. Basu, can you hear me?
Oh. Hello?
Mr. Basu, if you can hear me.
I can now, yes.
Yes, Mr. Basu, I was asking you, this deal, the European Union-India FTA is a deal that's been in the making for almost 2 decades now. We knew it was going to be signed next week when the EU president is here. But how do you look at the timing? How significant do you think it is?
Well, the timing is very significant given the fact that India's trade relations with the US have deteriorated drastically over the last 6 to 8 months. It is vitally important to have better trade relations with other major blocs, and the EU as a whole is almost as large as the United States as a market. The EU has traditionally been quite protectionist in the sense that it has a number of non-tariff barriers, etc., that prevent trade. And if the EU is willing to have a significant FTA with India, it would be very positive for the Indian economy over the medium term.
Now, this also would be the largest free trade agreement that India would have signed, even though India has signed about 6 or 7 in the last 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Given that India is also in talks with the United States, those talks sort of have hit a roadblock as far as trade deal goes. In that sense, do you think this is something that could pressurize the American negotiating team as well to get on the table back with India?
Well, the Americans and India have been talking for almost a year now. They started in February last year, so almost 11 months of negotiations have yielded very little. The key aspect here is that the EU has agreed to leave agriculture out of this FTA with India. If you look at all GATT negotiations as well as the only WTO agreement that emerged at the end of GATT in 1994, all of them left out agriculture. So it's continuing in that spirit to have an agreement, a free trade agreement that essentially covers primarily goods and to some degree services, where India has a huge comparative advantage. So if goods and services are included, and India's goods, particularly labor-intensive goods, gain better access to the European Union, particularly things like textiles, garments, shoes, toys, processed food, that could be hugely beneficial to India in the medium term, because India has just reformed its labor market. At the end of November, the new labor codes were codified and notified. As a result, we are going to be able to potentially hugely expand textile, garment, and related exports to the European Union,
yes,
which is a big market and which has in the past given preferential access to the likes of Bangladesh. So if we have even equal access as Bangladesh does, it will be hugely beneficial to us.
Sure.
And of course, that could provide a massive boost to employment in the medium term.
Absolutely. PK Basu, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Zaka Jacob continues to be with us. Now, as far as retaliatory tariffs go, Zaka, India has been at the receiving end of it, and now several European nations as well over Greenland. Donald Trump seems to be on a war path with that. So then, are we then having a common ground, so to say, where we can cut these deals with several other countries, leaving America out, and would that be beneficial in the long run?
No, the concern also is two things. One is that Trump is using a geopolitical issue and using a geoeconomic strategy like tariff to try and punish the Europeans on a geopolitical issue like Greenland. At the same time, you remember the European Union was one of the first blocks of countries that cut a deal with the United States. In fact, they got one of the lower tariff rates at 15%. That was announced in July of last year. When Trump concluded the tariff negotiations with all other countries, and the EU got one of the lower end of the rates at 15%. Now, over and above that, he's now slapped this extra, or at least threatened to slap these extra 10% tariffs starting the 1st of February because of Greenland. So what this basically means is, and there is a portion of Ursula's speech where she says, we had agreed to a rate with the United States, and in a business deal, a word is everything. So she's said that in that same speech. There's a portion where she has talked about how this was agreed to between the European Union and the Trump administration, but now Trump is walking back on that. He's basically now threatening to impose an additional 10% on that, so which means that Trump is not being true to his word in a business sense. And second, like I said, this is also coming at a time for India where it can clearly signal to not just Trump's America, but to Europe, to China, to Russia, the biggest trading blocs in the world, that look, India is the fastest growing major economy in the world, and it is a place that's open for business. So if Europe, which is comparable in terms of GDP size, purchasing power, consumer habits, particularly Western Europe, if it's comparable to the United States and to any other developed economy in the world, if Europe is willing to make, as Ursula von der Leyen says, the biggest or the mother of all deals with India, then it would send out a very strong signal to other trading partners with whom India is currently negotiating. India has about half a dozen FTAs that have been sort of signed up in the last few months and years, whether it's with the UAE, recently with New Zealand. If India, EFTA is another one that India has concluded. So if India were able to conclude the India-EU deal, and I believe there will be a concluding agreement that will be signed next Tuesday, because both Ursula von der Leyen and Antonio Costa are the chief guests for the Republic Day ceremony that's going to happen on Monday.
Right.
And on Tuesday next will be the formal bilateral between them and Prime Minister Modi. And that's where they will sign the concluding document which concludes the FTA negotiations.
Right, Zaga, to stay on with us, economist Sharad Kohli is also with us. Thank you so much for speaking with us on CNN News 18. How do you look at this comment that has come in, mother of all deals being signed between the European Union and India sometime next week? How significant do you think this is?
Hi, good evening to you and CNN News 18 viewers. I think 186 to 188 billion dollars of bilateral trade between India and EU at this point of time. So first is the makes it as mother of all deals because you're talking to 27 nations at one go. And considering the equations which have got the European Union right now because of Greenland, so that is also counting on the minds of the EU president and the entire EU, because people who were friends of US for a very long time and very close friends have suddenly become foes because of Greenland. I mean, he's imposed tariffs on them. And now, the coercion principles are going to be activated. $108 billion of the US imports to EU will be taxed on by way of tariffs. So I think the whole global world order has changed. The equations have changed. In that backdrop, India and EU coming together for an FTA, I think it's a great opportunity. So all that we lost because of the American tariffs, especially our exporters, I think they will stand to gain more than that. And that is why this is mother of all deals. Sheer volumes,
Absolutely.
number of countries.
It is comparable. It's comparable to what
global...
the trade between India and the US is going to look like, which is also why this trade deal or this FTA between the European Union and India is a significant one. Thank you, Mr. Kohli and Zaka Jacob, for your inputs and perspective. It is a wrap from my side on this edition of Nation at 5. Thank you so much for tuning in.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Shifting focus to Karnataka, now facing mounting public outrage and political criticism, the Congress has in fact reworked its strategy as far as Davos visit by the Deputy Chief Minister is concerned. It's a U-turn by DK Shivkumar, who's left to Davos early this morning after criticism, not just from public but also opposition parties. Remember, Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister DK Shivkumar, who had earlier skipped the World Economic Forum citing official engagements, has now left for Davos. Sources say the decision came after strong reactions over the missed opportunity to attract global investment to the state. Shivkumar has received clearance from the party leadership in Delhi and is on his way to Davos in what is being projected as a state-first move. The BJP has in fact accused DK Shivkumar of prioritizing party politics over Karnataka's economic interest, triggering a wider debate that ultimately led to this major U-turn by the DCM.
Of course, there is Delhi is also given me permission, and my leaders also have been, the CM also has been asked me to go there, and I've been receiving call that I should be a part of the discussion in Davos. I'm making a point, and my opposition leaders also, my friend also is advising me. Sometimes we'll have to take the advice of our opposition leaders also, in the interest of the state. We'll all work together. When the state comes, we'll all work together.
DK Shivkumar sir, he had initially cancelled the trip to Davos, and there was a lot of criticism on from the opposition saying that he's going to Delhi and he's going for personal agenda to for leadership change, and he's neglecting the interests of the state. So now he's going to Davos. Your reaction to that?
Already our delegation, our state government delegation headed by Mr. M.B. Patil, our industries minister, is reached Davos. Last year also he was there in Davos, and we got huge investments proposal from Davos, right? So they are also already there, they are doing their own job, and Mr. DK Shivkumar now has flown today, I think, in the morning, and he's joining the team. So there is no need for the BJP to get worried, because when they were in power, they never took all these things very seriously. They never brought any significant investment from the international forums. So it is our government which has worked silently, committedly, and to make Karnataka progressive industrial hub in the country. So they did not, BJP need not worry, we are doing our job efficiently.
In fact, CNN News 18's Afreen Hussain now joins us for more on this. Afreen, this constant flip-flop over the Deputy Chief Minister's visit to the World Economic Forum has clearly left the Congress embarrassed.
Well, absolutely, Harish. Initially, DK Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister of Karnataka, cancelled his visit to Davos, and BJP took this up, and they criticized him for cancelling the trip. And his office had also stated that he's going to Delhi to discuss about the Assam polls that's coming up, and to discuss how to tackle the opposition on Manrega and Act. And also, he was there to discuss leadership change. It's a speculation. Now, holding all these reasons, the BJP had criticized that DK Shivkumar had cancelled the Davos trip, which is in the interest of the state of people, which could bring in huge investment to Karnataka. And instead of looking at all of this, he's looking at his personal agenda, trying to get the Chief Minister's chair, trying to get a meeting with Rahul Gandhi. Now, these were all the reasons and the criticism that had come in from BJP. And finally, DK Shivkumar took a U-turn, and he decided to go to Davos. He's flown in early this morning, and he's also said...
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivangi.